Welcome to the Real Talk TRT. My name is Emmanuel Lama, and
I am Dorcas Magova, and we are
the Lamas.
Yeah.
So what is TRT, or the Real Talk? This is a beautiful space where we have real conversations. Conversations about life, conversations about relationships, conversations about family, the usual conversations that are not exactly talked about in their real sense. That's why we call it the Real Talk. Talk about daily issues, but in a candid and real way. Let me ask her to introduce to us the topic for the day so that we can get rolling.
So thank you so much, my dear husband. And so this is a space where you can send in your questions, send in your comments down, and we will talk about your questions. We will answer you. We will give you answers that you've been looking for. So my name is Dorcas Magova again. I'm a family woman. I am a mother of 3. I am your coach, and I am an HR specialist. I am an author. So I am really excited to be talking about today's topic because we are talking about the 3 most important conversations, which we are calling the 3 F's that you need to have in a relationship. These are the important conversations that every relationship, if you're planning to marry this husband, this guy, if you're in a marriage, these are the most important conversations that have come to appear important in our 10-year journey of marriage. So there are 3, and we are going to talk about the first 2, and then we will conclude in the next session, in the next episode, with the 3rd one. So the 3 are faith, family, and finances. So why faith? Because everyone needs a foundation. Why family? Because it's important. At the end of the day, we all come back to family. Why finances? Man, ataina sente tafo mitalindazi. So those are the 3 most important F's that we are going to be talking about today and the next episode. So I will give it to my husband to talk about he's the priest of my home. So I will give it to him to open us up with a conversation on faith.
Maybe before I talk about faith, let me first put out a disclaimer. We are not marriage experts. We don't have this figured out. We're just students who are passionate about teaching. So that's why we come into spaces like this where we get to talk about our experiences, where we get to talk about our lives, so that together we can take what we have learned, share it with someone, even as ourselves as we are learning. So faith. So you begin off a relationship. Some call it dating, some call it courtship. But let's just say you've reached at a point where you're sure he's the one or she's the one. So like she said, faith, family, and finances. There are real conversations that you now need to start talking about, questions that you need to start asking. So like we said, faith. The idea of faith is the core belief of your idea about God, okay? If you do find that the set of beliefs that you hold as an individual are very contrary to your ideal future partner, then you can be sure it's going to be an environment that is not united. So when you're sure this is the person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with, start a family with, grow all together, and the other good things that you always talk about in relationship, then it's time to have these conversations of, okay, sort of like pick each other's mind, but also come to a realization of where do we stand in what we regard as our interpretation for God. Why is that important? Because when you come together as a couple, the most likelihood is that you'll have children, you'll have a family. there has to be, children have to find a space where they have a better understanding of, or a foundation of where they can take it up from in building values, beliefs, and their understanding for God. That's one angle. Second angle, faith is a very big contribution to marriage. We're going to make 10 years in marriage in Feb. We would be far from being truthful if we said it's been a straight journey. But we can arguably say the most solid thing that has held us together is faith, is God. Situations where we have realized this is too much for us, bundle up together, agree and come to God in faith that He will see us through. Even in situations where the situation is us, where we tetuzigata, everyone finds their space in a corner, deals their issues with God until now God begins to align us together as a couple. So there is an angle of a foundation for what the children will find, but also an angle of faith as a sustenance for marriage. Okay? But also, even more importantly, at the end of the day, it's like the Bible says, two become one. Soul and body, they are joined. But the spirit, there is the individuality of an individual. Whether it's regarding our callings in life, they can be interrelated, they can be complementary, they can be supportive. But in the eyes of God, there's an element of that uniqueness. In the eyes of God, there's that personal relationship. So for me to be able, like she said, I'm a priest of the home, but for me to be able to be that priest in the home, there has to be a healthy and thriving and ongoing relationship with God to be able to do these other things better. Even as a wife, as a natural, as a support to a family, as a mother, she has to be in a space where she has a personal, ongoing relationship with her Creator, so she can then be able to live the fullness of her life. I mean, just because she gets married or just because I marry, that's not the full picture about me regarding my life. Yes, I become a husband, I become a father, but there is more to life, much more than that. So faith is solid in any relationship that will amount to marriage. One, to create a good foundation for the family relating with God, as a sustenance for the marriage, and thirdly, for that personal ongoing relationship with the Creator.
Thank you so much. So I want to know, what would you tell someone, a couple gets married and they tell you, for me, I go to church number A and my husband goes to church number B, and the children sometimes will go with the mother. Or what would you tell such a couple that is struggling with the faith part in their marriage?
Maybe before before talking about the counsel I would give them, for me, I would very much prefer if it didn't come to that. So that's why it's always very important to have these conversations first
at the dating stage
before it moves into that. But when it comes to, when you find yourself, you never had those conversations, then you find you're clustering to different, say, may I go to the Catholic church, or this one goes to the Protestant church because my family was that, and all these things. For me, my counsel would be, number one, at the risk of sounding biased, I think for me it's the responsibility of the man to bring his house in order. Okay? But at the same time, we're talking about something that is so ingrained as faith. So you provide leadership, but you don't provide imposition. Okay? What does that mean? You speak the truth and live the truth. So you go on to have this conversation, okay, with your wife, okay, and then in trying to explain what we are talking about, in trying to explain, look, it's very important for us to choose a specific place where we can both go in as a couple for the benefit, not only for us, but for the benefit of our children. So this is what I think, okay? And this is on assumption that you as a man, you've taken time to really wrestle it out with God in saying, God, this is the emphasis that I have in my family. What do I do about it? So the first thing would be, get in your space, get in your corner as a man, bring it to God. This is where we stand, God. What do I do? So whatever we find, whatever I get as my response or my answer, take it to my wife as a family. This is what is happening. I have taken it to God, and this is what I feel and think this is the direction God is telling us to go. Whether she accepts it or not, I wouldn't go as far as imposing it, okay? For me, it would be, okay, I think we're supposed to fellowship from church A, B, and C. I think it would be best when we go together as a family and also as the children. How she takes that, that's sort of like on her in a way, okay? Pick up a church, go on it, take up the children. If she chooses to go in a different place, we trust God. If ours is really right, she will come along.
So we get to talk about the most important thing, but yet the most ignored thing, and that is the importance of family as you start your dating process, as you get into marriage. And it's very important that you have these conversations before you actually get in and you forget yourself and you have issues all the way. Now, you have found this guy, let's say for us who stay in Kampala, you get this guy, you get this lady, she's beautiful, she's hot, the guy is a hunk, he has everything you've been dreaming about in a husband. Why is it important for us to look at their family, where they are coming from? The importance of you looking at where the person is coming from, it gives you different perspectives to who they are. It tells you how he was raised. It tells you how he will behave. If, for example, you get a husband who has no respect for the mother, you get in the village and they tell you your boyfriend was always abusing the mother, that is a sign. There is no way they can respect you if they don't respect their mother. If I'm a wife, one of the signs that men will run away from, if you've been in a relationship and a man asks you about your father and all you do is trash your father, most probably there is no way they will actually marry you. Why is that important? Because how you talk about the men in your life, your father, your brothers, it communicates how you will treat your husband. If you cannot respect the man who gave you life, how will he think you will actually respect him? So it's very important that we get to understand the component of family in relationship. The other thing that you have to know about family is that it gives me, for example, it gives us a sense of authority. Where does this person come from? Do they respect their parents? Do they have that respect for authority? Because if I'm a woman who has no respect for authority, most probably you will be a nobody in my space. You will just be my bedmate. You will just be my housemate. You will just be my any other thing, but I will not look at you as the authority. The reason you find some women are married even when their conditions are harsh is because they recognize the authority their husbands have over them. Once you understand that component, you will get in marriage and things will be easy. Why? Because you will realize that the man is the head of the home. And that will have come from where they are coming from. If your mother never recognized the husband, your father, as the head of their home, then most probably you will have that passed on to your family. So it's very important that we take this family issue very serious. I want to really, what is it called? It's called rebuke People who say, no, me, I'm in love. He loves me. I don't care what their family thinks about me. Let me tell you something. You're spending with this man the rest of your life. You're spending with this lady the rest of your life. So there is no way you cannot care about his sisters. There is no way you cannot care about his parents. There is no way you cannot care about his brothers. You have to be able that you understand it, because they are going to be part of your life for the rest of your life. So it's very important for you not to ignore that comment. So the other thing that is important is that when we talk about family, we actually think about family in ways of, okay, you have conversation of when you get married, do you want children? Can you imagine getting married to someone and you find they do not want children, and you had dreamt of having 10 children? It can be disappointing. You will divorce in your first year of marriage. Yet you would have had that conversation when you're dating. So ask about those family controversies, family issues. How many children do you? I wanted to have 6 people. I wanted to have 6, and they had to negotiate me down. Today I have 3 children, and I think that is the end, God willing. I'm still trying to debate my way out, but so I wanted 6 children. So the other important thing to note about family is that you have to be able to discuss the issues to do with dealing with your in-laws. You find you have no conversation about, like, you have to be able to say, can we allow in-laws to stay in our house? Can we support them from a distance? Like, you have to have those conversations at the beginning of the relationship. Or if you're already in the relationship, have that conversation so that you're not fighting in-laws. Instead, you're supporting them, you're loving them, but in your comfortable ways. If you do not discuss it, then you'll find that they come to your place, then you're fighting them, then you're fighting your husband or your wife, then you think she doesn't love them, and then it becomes a whole battle. The other important aspect about family is sex. Sex. You have to discuss, have conversations about sex, because sex, we will get children. With sex, we will be a happy family. With sex, you want to see a man's face happy? Sex. So you have to be able to discuss what happens if this happens, what happens if we can't have sex, what happens. Can we discuss and review and evaluate our sex life? And if you don't, your family will be in shambles. So it's very important we discuss those aspects. So next week we get to discuss the other F, which is finances, and most probably we will have an expert to discuss finances in family. We can discuss from our experiences, but sometimes we need the expert touch on these issues. Otherwise, thank you for watching The Real Talk with Dorcas Magoba and Emmanuel Lama. We hope to see you next week. Remember to subscribe. Remember to leave your comment, your question, and we will definitely have your questions answered. God bless you until next time.